I want you to picture two friends. Same age, same starting salary, same goal of eventually leaving the rat race. The first friend is 25 years old. He decided to invest $500 a month. He isn't a high earner yet, so this requires a bit of sacrifice, maybe a used car instead of a lease, or fewer nights out. He did this faithfully for exactly 10 years. By the time he turned 35, he had contributed $60,000. Then, life got busy. He stopped contributing entirely. He never added another penny to that account for the rest of his life. The second friend spent his 20s living it up. He believed the common lie that you can always make more money later. He waited until he was 35 to start, but once he did, he was serious. He too invested $500 a month, but unlike the first friend, he never stopped. He kept contributing that $500 every single month for 30 years, all the way until they turned 65. Here's the math that most people never do until it's too late. Assuming a 7% annual return, the first friend, who only invested for 10 years and then quit, walks away at age 65 with over $600,000. The second friend, who invested for 3 times as long and contributed $180,000 of their own money, ends up with roughly $560,000. The person who worked less and invested $120,000 less ended up wealthier. This isn't a story about luck. It's a story about the late start penalty and the brutal physics of time. This is the only financial mistake you cannot fix with a higher salary. You can always earn more money, but you can never earn more time. The first person didn't win because they were a genius investor. They won because they understood that in the world of wealth, time is more expensive than money. Every year you wait to start doesn't just cost you the money you didn't save, it costs you the exponential growth that money would have generated decades from now. Procrastination is the most expensive luxury you can buy, and most people are paying for it with their freedom. The second person is trapped in a race they can't win. They are trying to use hard work to make up for lost time. They have to work harder, save more, and take more risks just to try and catch up to the version of themselves that started 10 years earlier. But the math is unforgiving. Compounding is like a snowball. It needs a long hill to build momentum. If you start halfway down the mountain, it doesn't matter how much snow you throw at it. It will never reach the size of the one that started at the peak. Today, I'm going to walk you through the rules of the time-first strategy. It's a strategy that recognizes that your greatest asset isn't your paycheck or how much you make. It's your age. Most people think their 20s and 30s are for finding themselves. In reality, those are the only years where your money has the maximum leverage. A single dollar invested at 25 is worth significantly more than a dollar invested at 45. When you waste your early years on buying status symbols, going out and living life to the fullest without saving or investing a dime, you aren't just spending cash. You are burning the most powerful financial leverage you will ever own. True wealth isn't built by saving and investing every dime at the end of your career, it's built in the slow, quiet walk at the beginning. The person who starts early creates a war chest that does the heavy lifting for them. The person who starts late has to carry the weight of their lifestyle and their future on their back until the day they die. Rule 1. Respect the power of the double. To understand why the late start penalty is so devastating, you have to understand the rule of 72. It's a simple principle to determine how long it takes for your money to double. You divide 72 by your expected annual return. At a 7.2% return, your money doubles every 10 years. This is where the math turns into a tragedy for the procrastinator. If you start at 25, your money has 4 doubling cycles before you hit 65. Have a look at this. In 10 years, at age 35, your first double happens. In 20 years, at age 45, your second double. In 30 years, at age 55, your third double, and in 40 years, at age 65, your fourth double happens. The person who waits until 35 to start hasn't just lost 10 years. They have sacrificed their final double. In the world of compounding, the biggest gains happen at the very end. The fourth double is worth more than the first 3 combined. By starting a decade late, you aren't just missing a few paychecks, you are lopping off the largest growth phase of your entire financial life. Minimalists and early starters respect the double. They realize that every $1,000 they choose not to spend at 25 is actually $16,000 they are taking away from their 65-year-old selves. When you look at it through this lens, that mid-tier leather jacket or that unnecessary tech upgrade isn't a $500 purchase. It's an $8,000 theft from your future. This leads to the first habit of the time-first strategist. Treat your early contributions as seed capital. You don't eat your seeds, you plant them. The earlier they go into the ground, the larger the shade they provide when you're too tired to stand in the sun. The late start penalty is the price you pay for eating your seeds when you should have been planting them. Rule 2. Automate the first hour principle. Most people wait until the end of the month to see what's left over to invest. They give their money to the landlord, the car company, and the coffee shop first, then hope there's something left for their future. This is a losing strategy because willpower is a finite resource. The time-first strategist treats their investment like a non-negotiable bill. They use the first hour principle. The first hour of every workday belongs to their future self. If you work 40 hours a week, roughly 10% to 15% of your paycheck should be moved automatically into your war chest before you even see the net pay in your account. You make the right choice once by setting up the automation, and then you let the physics of time do the heavy lifting. By automating, you remove the emotional friction of deciding to save. You stop negotiating with yourself. You accept that your current self has no right to steal from your future self. The person who waits to invest until they feel like they have extra money will never start, because life is designed to consume every available dollar. Rule 3. Use volatility as a power lever. Starting early gives you a mathematical advantage that a late starter can never buy: the ability to ignore the noise. When you have 40 years in front of you, a market crash is not a crisis. It is a clearance sale. The person who starts at 35 or 45 is often paralyzed by fear. They feel the pressure of time, which leads them to wait for things to feel safe before putting their money in. This is a trap. By the time it feels safe, the prices have already gone back up. When you start at 25, you can afford to be aggressive when the world is panicking. You understand that every dollar invested during a downturn is essentially buying those doubles we discussed in Rule 1 at a steep discount. You aren't just buying assets, you're buying the emotional margin to stay invested when everyone else is running for the exits. The late start penalty isn't just about missing growth. It's about the compressed risk you're forced to take. If you start at 45, you don't have a 20-year recovery period. You are forced into lower return investments just to protect the little capital you have. The early starter plays the game on easy mode because time absorbs the shocks that break the late starter's back. Rule 4. The 1% pivot. Most people think that to catch up, they need a massive, life-altering change, like a $50,000 raise or a winning lottery ticket. This all-or-nothing mindset is what keeps people stuck. The time-first strategy uses the 1% pivot. Instead of trying to fix your entire financial life in a weekend, you commit to increasing your investment rate by just 1% every 6 months. If you are at 10%, move to 11% today. In 6 months, move to 12%. Within 5 years, you have pivoted from a standard saver to a wealth-building machine. This works because of hedonic adaptation. Your brain quickly adjusts to your new take-home pay. By moving the needle slowly and consistently, you engineer your lifestyle to be subordinate to your freedom. You are creating a war chest through stealth. The late starter doesn't have this luxury. They have to make the big cut, slashing their lifestyle, move into a smaller house, or selling the car just to stand a chance of hitting their target. The early starter uses the 1% move to build a life that is naturally wealthy. The goal is to reach a point where you are no longer working for money. Your money is working for you. But remember, the machine requires a long runway. The 1% you save at 25 is a titan compared to the 1% you save at 50. Well, Thank you so much for watching. Please like and share this video and subscribe if you haven't. With that said, see you tomorrow in the next video.